Hi, I'm William Michael of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, and in this video I'd like to talk a little bit about one way that we're going to be working to help homeschooling parents to improve the quality of their children's studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. A couple weeks ago I announced that we were going to be available for online video-based tutoring with Catholic homeschool students, and we've received a lot of feedback over these past few weeks from parents interested in more information or talking about what's possible with online tutoring. And in those discussions we've gotten a lot of good feedback about what those parents' concerns really are. And as a homeschool father myself, I know that these issues are issues that concern everyone. So I'd like to talk a bit about what those issues are and what we're going to do to address those issues and allow parents to get started with work on them. The three issues that have come up as the three concerns that the parents have that they're looking for help with are direction, accountability, and encouragement. Direction, accountability, and encouragement. The first one, direction, has to do with providing students with clear objectives and tasks to work on to accomplish the goals that their parents have for them. The parents often have general goals for their children's education. They're often vague. Parents don't necessarily know how to accomplish them or what should be done to bring about these goals, but parents have an idea of what they want for their children's education, but they need help determining exactly what the steps are by which the students can achieve those goals. And of course, that's one of the ways that tutoring can help parents with the education of their children. So the first concern is for direction. Parents want some expert help in providing direction for their children so they can work to achieve the goals their parents have. That's the first concern. The second concern is for accountability. Parents often feel, and I can empathize with this, parents often feel that they're the only voice in their children's life urging them to classical Catholic studies or Catholic studies at all. And so it's hard for parents when they're the only voice urging the children to pursue Catholic studies. It's hard for them to keep the children accountable because one of the things that's important for parenting and education is that the child is supposed to feel like there's a whole world of good around him, directing him in one direction, supporting him, helping him. And if he chooses to reject that world of good, he has to deal with that world of evil alone. That's how education is supposed to feel for a student. And good schools, which there aren't many of today, good schools give children that sense that all of these good people are out here urging me to choose the way that's good. And if I do so, there's all of these benefits and support and helps available to me. And if I choose the evil way, I have to do it by myself. It's poor, it's lonely, it's difficult, it's miserable. And it makes the children's decisions much easier. But in modern society, it feels like that's all flipped upside down. It feels like everyone around the child is encouraging him to do evil and assuring him that if he chooses that way, everything will be okay. He'll have help from the government. He can do this. He can do this. He's got all of these friends ready to help him. And it's just his parents who are trying to get him to travel on this lonely path in the good way with no support, with no help, nothing to look forward to. And that's the vision that many children growing up today have. I know that's been my children's experience. My wife and I have often been the only voices in their lives telling them how to live according to God's will and urging them to do so. And they've been surrounded by people assuring them that they'll be happy if they disobey their parents and move on from religion and all that old stuff into this brave new world that's being created for them. And it's very difficult for parents, especially when they are alone, trying to influence their children for good. And so parents are looking for some more accountability for their children, that there be another voice urging them to do what's good and setting an example for them that they might trust and want to follow. So I understand the second concern parents have is they want more accountability for their children. They want to be able to have their children directed in tasks to be done, but they also need help keeping the child accountable to a schedule, to study goals, to tasks to be done, and so on. And they're looking for that help through tutoring, which tutoring, again, can certainly help with. And then thirdly, they're looking for encouragement for their children. They feel like their children's spirits are down. They feel like their children are unhappy, sometimes lonely, and so on. And they need encouragement. And I can empathize with this concern because I see it. This generation, I tell my kids all the time, this generation is an ugly, dark, and unhappy generation. We can say when I was a kid it was like this or that, and sometimes parents and grandparents will exaggerate. But I know for certain that this generation that my kids are growing up in is nothing like the generation I grew up in. It's ugly and dark and unhappy. It's pessimistic. It's miserable. And I feel bad for my own kids, and I feel bad for other kids to have to grow up in this. For example, the other night, my wife needed to go clothes shopping for the kids, and I decided to take a ride with her. And we stopped at Target in town, and I don't get out much because I just work and mind my own business. I don't go shopping much or anything. But to go in Target, to go in a store and see the young people who are working there as employees, they're just miserable, unhappy people, grossly out of shape, tattooed all up, hair dyed. I don't know where this culture comes from. I don't know where they learn this culture from, but it's so dark and miserable and unnatural and obviously depressing because you can see in their faces that they're miserable people. And our children are growing up with pressure on them to become like these people. And I don't really understand where the pressure comes from, but you can feel it through politics, through the media, through entertainment. This culture of this dark, weird, countercultural, anti-Western, anti-Christian spirit is just pushed and pushed and pushed in our society. All this weird transgender stuff, the tattoos, the dyeing of the hair, ugly clothing, no physical fitness or health care. This life that these kids are being raised in is just, it's suicidal, really. I mean, we talk about a culture of death. The only way that I can explain this is there's a spirit in this generation just trying to drive children to become suicidal. There's no other way that I can explain it. And for Christian kids growing up in this generation, they need encouragement and lots of it. And again, tutoring can certainly help with that because, as I said, I think that I can provide students with an example of a better way of life, of a happier way of life. I can encourage them through my meetings with them and reinforce the things their parents are telling them. And most importantly, remind them constantly of God's promises, that God loves them, that God plans for them to be happy with him forever, and is simply trying to lead them to know him, love him, and serve him so they can enjoy that everlasting happiness which begins in this life, in our Christian worship and service. So again, tutoring, I believe, can help with encouragement. But those are the three things that parents have expressed concerns with. They need help directing their children's studies. They need help with accountability, keeping kids accountable and making them feel like they have to get things done with a certain short-term goal in view. And then thirdly, encouragement, lifting their spirits and helping them not to get sucked into this darkness of this generation. And obviously, Catholic tutoring can help with all three of those things. And so I've spent the last few days really starting to think through what I can do practically to address these three concerns through tutoring. Encouragement I'm really not concerned with, because I think that my meetings and talks with the kids will be pretty encouraging to them, to be praised for their work, to be encouraged by God's promises, things like that. They are encouraging. I trust that I'll be able to encourage kids. But the first two require some collaboration between the parents and the tutors, and I'd like to allow parents to get started with that. What I've done is I've published a number of what I'm calling daily student planners that I'd like parents to look at, because if we can work together to customize these daily planners, I can start working with the kids to use these planners. I can use them to direct their studies, and I can use them to keep them accountable each week to what they've been directed to do. So these planners become a tool for us as parents and tutors to use, working together to help provide the students with direction and accountability. You can access these planners. They're online. If you go to classicalliberalarts.com/DSP for Daily Student Planner. classicalliberalarts.com/DSP. You'll see a couple planners there, and I'll probably be adding a few more, because different parents who have children enrolled in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy often are working with different goals. Some are concerned with modern high school diploma and college prep. Others really don't care about that. They're concerned purely with classical Catholic studies. So I've provided a couple different planners, like I said, I'm probably going to add a few more that serve different interests of different families in the academy. But if parents will take a look at those planners and then think about your family life, think about your family routine, and work with me to customize one of those planners for your student who you'd like me to work with in tutoring. Once we've customized a planner and mom and dad sign off on it and say, our child can do this, can keep this planner, and we'll help to make sure that he does on our side, then I can start working to fill out that planner with the student when we meet for our tutoring sessions. And then in our following meetings, I can hold him accountable for the things that we listed on that planner the week or session before. So parents, what they can do at home, once we've worked out this planner together, the parents then can simply urge the students to constantly be going back to their planner. Make sure you're doing what the planner says. Make sure you're getting those tasks done. Mr. Michael's going to ask you about those tasks on your planner. And so it gives parents just a very simple task to focus on. Urge kids to pay attention and complete the tasks on their planners. So it makes things easy for parents. It also makes things easy for me, because I can work out the planner, invest some time in giving the kids some direction in their studies. that trust that the parents are going to be urging them to focus on those planners while we're not meeting, because I'm not there to supervise the children's daily activities. And then when I do get the chance to meet again with the student, hopefully those planner tasks will be completed and we'll be able to work on the next week's tasks, while also, praising him for getting the work done from the week before. He can submit those planners every day if parents want, just so I can see that he's progressing. That's up to parents. Or you can just save them and bring them to our weekly meetings or share them with me before our weekly meetings. But the daily student planners are going to be the first tool that I begin to use with students who are enrolled for tutoring with me. My wife will also be doing something similar, but since she works with younger children, it'll be simpler than what I'm doing with the older children, and she'll talk about that separately. But if parents are interested in help with these three areas, with direction, accountability, and encouragement for their children in their classical Catholic studies, take a look at those planners. And if you're going to enroll the students for tutoring with me, start thinking about how we can customize those planners so that I can begin working with the students to fill them out and track them week by week. Okay, so step one in this work of collaborating with parents to improve Catholic homeschooling is going to be developing this daily student planner for each student that allows us to collaborate as parents and tutor to help the children in these important areas. So if you want to get started with that as a parent, if you're not planning to use tutoring sessions, you're still welcome to go look at those planners and use them on your own. But if you'd like me to participate in that work with you, which I recommend, you can do so through the tutoring sessions. The other thing I'd like to remind you of is the best deal for your student is our premium student plan. Just being able to budget $100 a month for that plan, for that subscription, provides the student with access to all the course materials he's going to need, 1 hour weekly meeting with me for just general direction and accountability and encouragement and academic help with his studies, which is really very helpful. But 1 regular scheduled weekly meeting where I can work with the student. It also gives him access to me by live chat anytime he needs help throughout the week. So, there are times where, I'm available on live chat, but only for premium students, and other students don't have live chat at those times. Premium student subscription provides your child with that access to live chat support with me directly, not with someone else helping, but directly with me. And then tutorial resources that I publish, videos and things like that I only intend for the premium students, because I'm working with them and addressing issues that they need help with. I only make those available to students enrolled in the premium student plan. So that's my ideal enrollment for a student. Those are the kids on my list who I consider my private students. And if you're trying to sort out what you should do, my recommendation, the way that I can help you the most, is if you're willing to commit and enroll a student in the premium student plan, I can work with that child regularly and steadily and invest myself in his studies, because I know that he's committed, or his parents are committed to the program, and we can really start to get some traction and move forward little by little over time, because these things take time to develop. So I recommend the premium student plan for the sake of regular, scheduled weekly meetings that allow us to address these issues. But nevertheless, if you'd like to just sign up for an individual tutoring session here and there as you feel they're necessary as a parent, you're free to do so as well. And we can still collaborate, though that's not the way that I would recommend doing it. So I hope that's helpful. I encourage you to take a look at these daily student planners and see if you can start customizing the times or the subjects that you're interested in. If there's any concerns you have, get in touch with me. You can call me on the phone here. The number in the office is 704-776-4696, 704-776-4696. That phone rings right here in the office, and the only people who answer it are my wife and myself. So if you'd like to just get in touch with us and talk, give us a call. You could also send an email to mail@classicalliberalarts.com. Share any thoughts or concerns you have, ask any questions, and I'll get back to you there. But we can fix these things, and we can help these kids, and they need us to help them if we collaborate together. These daily student planners are step one, the first tool that we're going to use to do this. And if you're willing to do your part, I'm willing to do mine. So let's get started with these daily student planners. classicalliberalarts.com/DSP. And if you have any questions, just get in touch. God bless.